Big topic today. It hasn't stopped. Front row, back row. Prior to the show was brought up. Would you rather be a backup quarterback or a Pro Bowl kicker? I thought we settled this. I said if you could be Justin Tucker or Chase Daniel, I'd be Justin Tucker. Now, only 53% sided with me on being a Pro Bowl kicker. So Paulie reached out to a former Pro Bowl punter kicker, Pat McAfee, now working for Barstool Sports. Sorry to bother you, Pat. I'm sure you're preparing for your show and podcast, but do you got an answer for us?
Well, I think the thing about me is anytime I get a chance to speak to a living legend, which is Dan Patrick in the front row and back row guys, I take time out of my day immediately. So this is a dream come true. I don't want you to think you're interrupting anything, Dan. My life, I'm retired now. I don't got a lot going on.
When's the last time somebody called you about kicking?
Like last week, a couple punters around the league have called me and asked about certain things that I did and stuff like that. So I've been chit-chatting about kicking a lot, actually. After the Colts game this past weekend, I got a bunch of calls from people like local radio shows to talk about the punters and stuff like that. So that's about it. But back to your question.
Well, wait a minute. Let me ask you one thing. The Colts still own your rights if you came out of retirement?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I do believe that's how it works. It would be like a Marshawn Lynch situation where he ended up with the Raiders, little beast mode. This is for Oakland, though. That's what I would have to be like for Indianapolis. But would you rather be clipboard Jesus or Adam Vinatieri? I mean, that's like you said, Justin Tucker or Chase Daniel. I think it's more like Charlie Whitehurst or Adam Vinatieri, and that's the real deep question. Because if you're a backup quarterback in the NFL, you had some superstar, college all-star, big moments in college when you won some games, you won out, everybody took care of you. Your entire life you've been a kicker, though, if you're an all-pro kicker. So although you've had gigantic moments, in college you were just the kicker, in the NFL you're just a kicker. Backup quarterback gets you into a lot of Hollywood events, for sure. I used that whenever I was trying to get into things as a young guy. I was fourth-string quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. That got me reservations a lot more than starting punter for them. But if I could be Adam Vinatieri, I'd be Adam Vinatieri. Just because you're competitive, you're a part of the game, you're in the game, you make things happen, you're scoring points. Although it's not all the glitz and glamour of being Charlie Whitehurst, which was dating Jewel at one point, you're still a living legend with a chance to go into the Hall of Fame, which is what it's all about.
Do kickers have groupies?
I'll tell you what. I think I was an Adam Vinatieri groupie before I got into the NFL. So I'm not sure if it's women, but I do believe there are a lot of ball kickers across the world that are excited to meet a lot of guys. I think that is certainly the case. I think there's a lot of dudes, young kickers, that like to meet older kickers, and I was one of them when I met Adam Vinatieri.
But did you sound like, hi, Adam, it's nice to meet you. I've admired your body of work.
Well, I lied straight to Bill Polian's face whenever he asked if I could hold coming out of college. So he was like, "Can you hold?" I said, "Yes, sir, absolutely." Right to his face, I lied. I'd never held a ball a day in my life for a field goal because I was a kicker in college. Not a good one, but I did kick. So whenever I got drafted by the Colts, the first conversation from Adam Vinatieri was, "I knew you were a kicker in college. Have you ever held before?" And it was at that moment I had to decide if I had to continue to lie or keep it real. And with how handsome he is and Italian he is, I told him the truth. I said, never before in my life. So I felt like I let my dad down, basically. And that was really the first time I talked to him, was a big letdown for him. But then we worked together. We drank a couple beers together. I showcased a beer-chugging talent that he was impressed by, and we've been best friends ever since.
More pressure for a punter or a kicker?
So everybody talks about kickers having the big moments, but if you're backed up and you hit a crap punt, the other team is going to score. So it's not about gaining points. It's about giving up points. So if you're back, like I had a punt against the Houston Texans. We were up to, I think there was like a minute left. We were punting from our own 2-yard line. If I punt it anywhere on our side of the 50, they're probably going to kick a field goal and win it. Had to flip the field. Like, that's a big pressure moment. And I didn't even realize it was a big pressure moment until Adam Vinatieri told me it was a big pressure moment, right?
Nice.
But the end of the game, when it all comes down to the kicker, it is a gigantic amount of pressure on the whole operation, but also on the kicker, obviously, to make the final kick. And that's why I think people right now are getting a chance to watch Justin Tucker and Adam Vinatieri. You're talking about two of the greatest to ever do it. And it's like it's almost a work of art at this point.
You attempted 3 passes in your career, I think.
3?
I think. Paulie, did you got 3 from McAfee?
I got him. 1 for 3 in his career?
Oh, so 4 passes. All right.
No.
I see. Check it. 1 for
Hold
2.
on.
1 for 2.
Yeah.
35
you.
yards.
And I have a perfect passer rating on Thanksgiving Day, which I think more people should respect. When it comes to the Turkey Bowl, I'm 1 for 1, batting 1,000, perfect passer rating, and would have a touchdown if Eric Swope, former Miami basketball player, turned tight end for the Indianapolis Colts, could have scored a touchdown on Antonio Brown. It would have happened. I would have had a touchdown.
And you also had a couple of rushes there, too.
Yeah, I had one against the Tennessee Titans. That was pretty good. Got a first down. Pretty exciting day. Bad snap. Leads me out of the pocket. I make a play. High-stepping my way for a little 18-yard jaunt. Then against the Oakland Raiders, we had a fake field goal called where the middle linebacker was supposed to drift to the other side of the field. I got the snap. I stood up. The middle linebacker stared at me. Didn't drift anywhere. I had tried to hit him with a little circle button spin move, and he broke my hip, and I gave up a fumble. It was a rough day. I'm 1 for 2 on those as well.
Before I let you go, give me something on Andrew Luck. Is he starting this season?
I don't know anything from. They haven't talked to me at all. They almost treat me like I'm the enemy because I'm part of the media, which is Barstool Sports nowadays. So nobody gives me a heads up about anything. I have a conversation. I talk to Vinny like twice a week from training camp. He's talking about how he's living in a hotel and I'm at my house in a hot tub and all this stuff. But I talk to him every week and they always dance around it. I'll tell you this. I've watched local news segments which show him out there coaching and stuff. Yep. 2 weeks ago, he didn't even lift his arm up past his nipple whenever he was like imitating something. Yep. Last week, he had his hand up above his head with some water bottle. That's really all you know about anything. I hope for the Colts' sake, which a lot of my friends are there, they need Andrew Luck in a bad way. I mean, Scotty Tolzien, Morrison, Walker are good options, but I hope the guy plays. But from everything I've seen, there's no way it's possible. I have no idea how he's going to get out there and play. He hasn't thrown a ball to anybody yet. I don't even know if it's possible.
Thanks for joining us as always, and continue knocking them dead there at Barstool.
I'll tell you what. The crowd seems dead. Not a lot of laughing, but I'm having a great time, and that's really all that matters. My mom likes it.
Thank you, Pat. That's Pat McAfee, former Cold Soul Pro punter.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.